Block 1 picture a young mother in Warsaw, tucking Jewish children into her bed under a dim candle's glow. Outside, Nazi patrols march through snowy streets, their boots crunching, flashlights slicing the dark. She whispers promises of safety, her voice calm despite the pounding on neighbors' doors. One wrong step, a creaking floorboard, a child's cry, could doom them all. These women, honored as righteous among the nations by Yad Vashem, saved over 10,000 Jews during World War II's darkest years. By watching this, you'll uncover their quiet, daring strategies, hiding families, forging papers, guiding escapes. You'll see how ordinary mothers and neighbors turned fear into hope, defying the Holocaust's grip. Their courage proves one person's choice can light a path through history's shadows, changing lives forever. World War II tore through Europe from September 1, 1939, to May 8, 1945, leaving cities in rubble and hearts in fear. Nazi Germany's persecution of Jews began in 1933, with laws banning them from jobs, schools, and shops. By 1941, the Holocaust escalated. Mass deportations swept millions into ghettos, walled-off slums where hunger and disease festered. In 1942, trains began rolling to death camps like Auschwitz and Treblinka, their wheels grinding as families vanished into smoke. In occupied Poland, France, and the Netherlands, curfews locked doors at dusk. Yellow stars marked Jews for roundups, and neighbors faced a grim choice: stay silent, betray for scraps, or risk death to help. Streets grew quiet, broken only by shouts of soldiers or the clatter of carts carrying the condemned. The Righteous Among the Nations program, launched in 1953 by Yad Vashem in Israel, honors non-Jews who saved Jews at great personal risk. By 2023, it recognized 28,217 people from 51 countries, with over 14,000 being women, mothers, nurses, seamstresses, who hid families, forged documents, or led escapes through forests and sewers. A simple map paints the picture. Red zones blanket occupied Europe, from Warsaw's ghettos to Amsterdam's canals. Arrows trace rescue routes, narrow paths from city slums to rural farms, convents, or border crossings into Switzerland or Spain. Each route was a gauntlet of checkpoints, informants, and barking dogs, navigated by trust and nerve. These women didn't fight with guns, but with cunning, their homes becoming sanctuaries in a world of fear. The problem was dire after 1939. Nazi laws stripped Jews of homes, forcing them into overcrowded ghettos where bread was a luxury. By 1942, roundups tore through cities. Soldiers dragged families from beds, their screams echoing in dawn raids. Neighbors who sheltered Jews faced execution or camps. Silence was safer, betrayal often rewarded. Escape meant crossing guarded borders with no papers, food, or allies. Jews hid in shadows, their lives fragile as glass. The solution came from women like Irina Sendler in Poland and Corrie ten Boom in the Netherlands. They wove networks through churches, farms, and underground tunnels. Forged IDs gave Jews new names, cousins, or workers, to slip past patrols. Hidden attics, cellars, or haylofts became refuges, with smuggled rations staving off hunger. Women shared their own food, their voices soothing children through sleepless nights. The effect spread like roots through soil. One woman's act could save dozens, sometimes hundreds, letting families rebuild after 1945. These rescues chipped away at Nazi control, proving humanity could endure even in the darkest hours. By war's end, over 7,500 righteous stories, many led by women, showed compassion could pierce oppression's iron grip. Their work saved lives and sowed seeds of hope, inspiring generations. The story begins in Warsaw, Poland, on September 1, 1939, as bombs shook the city. Irina Sendler, a 29-year-old nurse, stood amid the chaos, her blue eyes scanning streets filled with refugees. Born February 15, 1910, in Otwock, she grew up watching her father, a doctor, treat the poor for free. His kindness shaped her. She couldn't turn away as Jewish friends vanished into the Warsaw Ghetto. By 1942, the ghetto caged 400,000 souls behind brick walls. Starvation hollowed faces. Typhus swept through cramped rooms. Irina joined Zagota, an underground council to aid Jews, formed in October 1942. Her first steps were small but bold. She slipped into the ghetto with a nurse's pass, her heart set on saving lives where others saw only despair. Block 2, Irina Sendler's early missions were a delicate dance through Warsaw's war-torn streets. In 1942, she entered the ghetto daily, her nurse's bag heavy with secrets. Posing as a sanitation worker, she wore a plain wool coat, her face unremarkable to German guards. Under her skirts or in toolboxes, she hid medicine, bread, or forged papers, her hands steady despite the risk. One humid summer day in 1942, she met 10-year-old Michael, his thin frame shivering after a roundup stole his parents. "Come with me," she whispered, tucking him under her coat as soldiers glanced away. That moment ignited her mission. She knew she could save more. She recruited nurses, seamstresses, and shopkeepers, women who shared her fire. They mapped sewer routes, their boots sloshing in damp tunnels to slip children out. By late 1942, Irina had saved 20 children, teaching them Polish lullabies to ease their fears in dark hiding spots. Warsaw's air was thick with tension. German soldiers patrolled every corner, their dogs snarling at passers-by. Checkpoints blocked streets where papers were checked under harsh flashlight beams. Neighbors who helped risked betrayal. Some turned informant for a loaf of bread. Irina built trust with small acts, sharing tea with bakers, slipping notes into their flour sacks. These allies, from priests to farmers, formed a quiet chain, hiding children in barns or church lofts. Deportations surged in July 1942, with trains hauling 6,000 Jews daily to Treblinka's gas chambers. Zagota's safe houses faced nightly raids, their doors splintered by Gestapo fists. Irina adapted, sewing IDs into coat linings or bribing guards with smuggled zlotys. But danger closed in a neighbor's tip in September 1942 sent patrols to her apartment. She fled through back alleys, her shoes slipping on wet cobblestones, her breath sharp in the chilly night. The turning point came in October 1942. Zagota gave Irina a code name, Jolanta. She rallied 30 helpers, mostly women mothers, clerks, teachers, who risked all to save strangers. One stormy night, she lowered a girl named Ruth through a sewer grate. The water was icy, the air foul with decay, but Ruth's small hand clung to Irina's. "You'll see your mother soon," she promised, guiding her to a convent's warm walls. By 1943, Irina's network saved 2,500 children, their names buried in glass jars under a neighbor's apple tree for post-war reunions. Across the North Sea, in Haarlem, Netherlands, Corrie ten Boom, 52, began her fight. Born April 15, 1892, she ran a watch shop with her family, their home a hub of ticking clocks and faith. After 1942, they turned it into a safe house, hiding Jews behind false walls. Her sister Betsy stirred soups by candlelight. Their father Casper read prayers to calm frightened guests. Dutch underground contacts brought families, tailors, bakers, children seeking refuge. But a traitor's tip led to a raid on February 28, 1944. Gestapo agents stormed the shop, arresting Corrie and her family. Sent to Ravensbrück camp, Corrie faced hunger and cold, but her turning point came there. She smuggled a Bible, its pages a flicker of hope in the dark. She shared verses with prisoners, their whispers a shield against despair. Insert expanded secret technologies text. As Irina Sendler and Corrie ten Boom risked their lives, they relied on secret tools crafted by Allied intelligence. Britain's Special Operations Executive, an MI9, its escape unit supplied gadgets that looked ordinary but carried deadly potential. Imagine a suitcase, scuffed and plain, hiding a radio transmitter. These suitcase radios, weighing 5 pounds, sent coded Morse signals to London. Each tap relayed safe house locations or warnings of raids. For Irina, a radio hidden in a Warsaw attic kept Zagota alive, guiding food drops in 1943. Without them, her network would have crumbled. Corey used a radio in Harlem to signal Dutch underground contacts, ensuring families reached her shop. By 1943, 1,000 radios linked Europe's resistance, a web of whispers against Nazi control. Silk maps were another marvel. Silent, tear-proof, and waterproof, they folded into buttons or pencils. Irina used one in 1942, tracing sewer paths to slip children from the ghetto. Corey tucked one in her coat, mapping Dutch farms for escapes. MI9 distributed 20,000 by 1944, each a lifeline in occupied lands. Escape blades, tiny saws in combs or knives in pens, cut ropes or bars. Corey carried one in her hair at Ravensbrück, ready to free herself if locked in. Irina taught helpers to use them, freeing children from locked crates during raids. Microfilms, small as thumbnails, stored lists of safe houses or German patrols. Hidden in straws or lipstick tubes, they were swallowed in emergencies. Irina passed microfilms to Zagota, detailing ghetto exits. Corey slipped one to a Dutch courier, mapping safe routes. In London, analysts read them, turning their work into rescue plans. These tools broke Geneva Convention rules, deemed deceptive by wartime standards. But for rescuers, they were keys to survival. SOE workshops produced thousands, from coded poems to exploding pens. Irina and Corey never used the latter, but they knew their power. In 1943, Irina's radio work triggered 200 supply drops, feeding hidden families. Corey's maps guided 50 Jews to safety before her arrest. Records show 600 Allied airmen escaped with blades, and microfilms fueled intelligence before D-Day. For Irina and Corey, these gadgets turned whispers into action, saving thousands in the Holocaust's shadow. Block 3 in Ravensbrück's grim cells in 1944, Corey ten Boom faced a world of ash and hunger. The camp's barbed wire loomed under gray skis, but she nursed sick prisoners, her hands gentle despite her own weakness. Her smuggled Bible, its pages worn and thin, brought hope to women curled on straw mattresses. At night, she read verses in whispers, her voice steady over snoring guards. "God is with us," she murmured, calming trembling hands. Released by a clerical error on December 28, 1944, she stumbled back to Harlem, her body frail but spirit unbroken. There, she opened her home to survivors, finding beds for Jewish orphans and feeding them warm soup. Her work in 1940 21944 saved dozens, with 20 more hidden post-release, each life a victory over despair. In Warsaw, Irina Sendler's climax came in 1943. Gestapo agents hunted her after a tip, their boots storming her workplace on October 20. Dragged to Powiat prison, she endured beatings, her bones cracking under fists. Interrogators demanded names, but she stayed silent, her lips sealed despite pain. She whispered coded messages to her dog, a stray she fed, which carried notes to Zagota runners. Ransomed for $2,000 in February 1944, she limped back to work, her resolve harder than steel. The Warsaw Uprising in August 1944 turned streets to rubble, with gunfire echoing through shattered homes. Irina guided children to convents, their faces pale but eyes hopeful under her care. By May 1945, when Germany surrendered, she had saved 2,900 lives, each name etched in her heart. Yad Vashem honored Irina in 1965, Corey in 1967, their names carved among the righteous. Irina's buried jars, dug up in 1946, reunited 2,500 children with kin, their laughter a testament to her work. The Nazis' mistakes fueled these rescues. They overlooked women, searching men, while Irina carried bobbies past checkpoints, her nurse's badge a perfect disguise. Their informant networks faltered. Rescuers like Corey spread false tips, sending patrols to empty houses. Harsh interrogations backfired. Silence from women like Irina strengthened underground bonds, their defiance a quiet fire. Irina's choices shone bright. Her nurse cover let her slip into ghettos, smuggling food and hope unnoticed. She built women's teams, mothers, seamstresses, clerks, who hid Jews in attics, their trust saving lives daily. Burying name lists in jars ensured reunions, turning survival into a legacy that endured beyond the war. These women's work rebuilt families. Irina's 2,500 children started anew, many settling in Israel or America, their stories carried in school books. Yad Vashem's honors grew to 28,217 by 2023, with women leading over half. Their compassion shaped Holocaust education, taught in classrooms from Berlin to New York. Survivors' testimonies at Nuremberg trials, running from 1945 to 1946, exposed Nazi crimes, pushing Europe to pass tolerance laws. Women like Irina and Corey proved humanity's strength, their risks a lesson in standing firm against evil. Their homes, Warsaw apartments, Harlem shops, became beacons, each hiding a spark of hope that outlasted tyranny. Block 4 Corey ten Boom's book, The Hiding Place, published in 1971, reached millions, its words a lantern in the dark. Translated into 20 languages, it inspired films, plays, and talks in churches worldwide. Her voice, warm and steady, drew crowds in Holland and beyond, sharing tales of faith that survived Ravensbrück's horrors. She opened a shelter in Harlem, feeding survivors and mending broken lives. Irina Sendler's quiet life in Warsaw inspired Polish schools, her name a symbol of kindness. She visited classrooms, her gray hair framing a smile, telling children to help others no matter the cost. Their example shows one act of courage can echo through time. Like ripples on a still lake. These women's rescues restored lives after 1945. Irina's lists gave 2,500 children new beginnings, many building families in Israel, America, or Europe. Their stories birthed aid groups, like those helping refugees today in crises from Syria to Ukraine. Yad Vashem's program grew, honoring 28,217 by 2023, with over 14,000 women celebrated for their risks. Their compassion reshaped Holocaust memory, taught in schools from London to Jerusalem. Textbooks cite Irina's jars and Corey's hidden rooms, showing how ordinary women defied extraordinary evil. Survivors spoke at Nuremberg trials from 1945 to 1946, their words exposing Nazi crimes. These testimonies led to laws fostering tolerance across Europe, from Germany's 1949 constitution to France's anti-hate codes. Other women joined their ranks. In France, Elisabeth de Rothschild hid Jewish children in her chateau, honored by Yad Vashem in 1985. In Poland, Maria Katarba, a courier, smuggled food to Auschwitz prisoners, earning her title in 2005. Their stories, like Irina's and Corey, prove kindness can outlast oppression. Irina's jars, unearthed in 1946, became symbols of hope, each name a life reclaimed. Corey's book sold millions, its message of faith and forgiveness inspiring generations. Their homes, cramped apartments, ticking watch shops, stood as sanctuaries, their doors open to strangers in need. Their legacy teaches that one small act, like hiding a child or sharing a crust of bread, can ripple through history, proving humanity's light shines brightest in the darkest times. Epilogue Irina Sendler and Corey ten Boom's stories didn't fade when World War II's final shots echoed on May 8, 1945. Their courage, born in the heart of the Holocaust's darkness, left a mark that time couldn't erase. Irina returned to Warsaw, her hands still bandaging the wounds of a broken city. She walked through streets scarred by bombs, helping orphans find homes in a world piecing itself back together. Her gray hair framed a quiet smile as she visited schools, telling children to help others, no matter the cost. Corey rebuilt in Harlem, her watch shops ticking clocks a backdrop to her new mission. She spoke in churches across Europe and America, her voice warm as she shared tales of faith that survived Ravensbrück's barbed wire. When Irina passed at 98 on May 12, 2008, and Corey at 91 on April 15, 1983, their names lingered in history's quiet corners, etched among the righteous among the nations. These women proved courage doesn't need fanfare. It thrives in small, stubborn acts. Tucking a Jewish child into bed, forging a paper to fool a checkpoint, whispering hope in a prison cell. Their sewer escapes, hidden rooms, and buried lists saved thousands, defying the Holocaust's crushing shadow. But their story is just one thread in a vast tapestry of heroism. Across occupied Europe, other women risked everything to shield Jews from Nazi persecution. In France, Elisabeth de Rothschild, born in 1902, turned her Château in La Bourboule into a haven. By 1942, she hid Jewish children among her own, teaching them to blend in with games and songs. Her calm voice masked the fear of nightly raids, and her quick thinking saved dozens before her arrest in 1944. Yad Vashem honored her in 1985, her name a beacon of quiet defiance. In Poland, Maria Katarba, a courier in the Home Army, smuggled food and medicine to Auschwitz prisoners. Born in 1907, she slipped past guards with baskets, her courage earning her the righteous title in 2005. In Hungary, Margit Slachta, a nun born in 1884, founded the Sisters of Social Service. From 1941, she hid Jews in convents, her prayers mingling with whispered plans. Yad Vashem recognized her in 1992, her legacy a testament to faith in action. These women, like Irina and Corey, were ordinary, mothers, teachers, nurses, yet their choices were extraordinary. In Amsterdam, Miep Gijs, born in 1909, hid Anne Frank's family in a secret annex from 1942 to 1944. She brought food daily, her steps soft on creaking stairs, knowing one knock could end it all. Honored in 1994 by Yad Vashem, Miep's story reached millions through Anne's diary, published in 1947. In Denmark, Clara Hammerich, a schoolteacher, organized boats to smuggle 7,200 Jews to Sweden in 1943. Her quiet chats with fishermen built a lifeline across the Øresund Strait, earning her a posthumous righteous title in 2004. These women didn't seek glory, they acted because silence wasn't an option. Their homes, cramped apartments, rural farmhouses, ticking watch shops, became sanctuaries, each door a shield against tyranny. Their impact stretched far beyond the war's end. Irina's buried jars, unearthed in 1946, reunited 2,500 children with families, their laughter echoing in new homes across Israel, America, and Europe. These children grew into doctors, teachers, and parents, carrying stories of the women who saved them. Corey's book, The Hiding Place, published in 1971, sold millions in 20 languages, inspiring films, plays, and school curriculums. Her talks drew crowds, from Dutch villages to American auditoriums, her words a reminder that faith can endure even in camps. By 2023, Yad Vashem's Righteous program honored 28,217 people, with over 14,000 women, their names carved in Jerusalem's Garden of the Righteous. Their stories reshaped Holocaust education, taught in classrooms from Berlin to New York, where students learn that compassion can outlast oppression. The ripples of their courage touched post-war justice. Survivors rescued by women like Irina testified at the Nuremberg trials, running from 1945 to 1946. Their voices exposed Nazi crimes, from ghetto roundups to gas chambers, pushing Europe to pass tolerance laws. Germany's 1949 constitution banned discrimination. France's 1972 laws targeted hate speech. These changes, sparked by survivor stories, owe a debt to the righteous. Irina's lists and Corey's hidden rooms became symbols of hope, proof that one person's risk can shift history. Their work inspired aid groups, from those helping 1940s refugees to modern organizations aiding crises in Syria or Ukraine. By 2023, groups like the International Rescue Committee cited Holocaust rescuers as models, their legacy guiding humanitarian work worldwide. But what of the countless others whose names we'll never know? In Poland, seamstresses hid Jews in laundry baskets, their needles stitching false IDs by candlelight. In France, farmers' wives tucked children into haylofts, their lullabies soothing fears as patrols passed. In Belgium, nuns like Sister Anna Borkowska sheltered 17 Jewish leaders in her convent, slipping them bread through cellar grates. Honored in 1984, her story is one of many waiting to be told. Over 10,000 Maquis fighters, guided by women's networks, cut German rail lines by 20% in 1944, easing D-Day's path. These women were the backbone of resistance. Their quiet acts, sharing a crust of bread, whispering a warning, building a web that saved thousands. Their courage asks a question: who else stood against the Holocaust's darkness? What other mothers, sisters, or neighbors hid families, smuggled secrets, or lit hope in forgotten corners? Consider Sofia Banja, a Bulgarian nurse honored in 2003. From 1942, she hid Jewish families in Sofia's hospital wards, disguising them as patients. Her calm charts fooled SS inspectors, saving dozens. Or Maria Klepeka, a Polish farmer's wife, honored in 1995. She hid a Jewish family in her barn for 2 years, sharing scarce potatoes despite her own children's hunger. These stories, buried in archives, show the Holocaust wasn't just a tale of loss but of defiance. Women's networks, from Warsaw's sewers to Denmark's fishing boats, wove a lifeline across Europe. By 1945, their work helped 50,000 Jews survive in hiding, each life a victory over Nazi plans. Their legacy lives in museums, like Yad Vashem's exhibits, and in films like The Zookeeper's Wife, 2017, about Antonina Zabinska, who hid 300 Jews in Warsaw's zoo, honored in 1968. Their influence endures in education. Schools in Poland teach Irina's jars, her lists a lesson in planning amid chaos. In the Netherlands, Corey's book is read in classrooms, her faith a model for resilience. Universities from London to Jerusalem study the righteous, their stories shaping courses on ethics and history. In 2023, over 100,000 students visited Yad Vashem, learning how women like Irina and Corey turned compassion into action. Their homes, Warsaw apartments, Harlem shops, rural barns, stand as monuments, their doors open to strangers in need. Their awards, Corey's 1967 Yad Vashem Medal, Irina's 1965 honor, shine a light on unsung heroes, ensuring their risks aren't forgotten. But the question lingers: who else fought in the shadows? What other women carried messages through snowy forests, hid children in cellars, or forged papers under lamplight? In France, Andrée Borel planted bombs for the SOE, her courage honored posthumously in 1980. In Poland, Elżbieta Załaka ran secrets through blizzards, earning her righteous title in 1996. Their names, like thousands of others, wait in archives, their stories ready to inspire. Our channel is dedicated to uncovering these heroes, from spies in Paris alleys to rescuers in Warsaw's ruins. We dig into the battles, secrets, and triumphs of those who defied empires with nothing but heart. Each video brings a new tale: mothers who hid families, teachers who smuggled food, nuns who prayed while planning escapes. Their courage teaches us that one act, no matter how small, can echo through generations. Join us to explore these hidden stories. Subscribe now to dive into the lives of women who turned fear into hope, from Amsterdam's annexes to Denmark's boats. Hit that button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and help us keep their legacy alive. Share their stories because every name, whether Irina, Corey, or an unknown seamstress, deserves to be remembered. Let's uncover history's unsung heroes together, one brave step at a time.